Well, there is a difference between milk permeate and cheese permeate. Milk permeate is all they use in the milk, not cheese permeate. So the milk permeate is got protein, minerals, and all that sort of thing. It's not a bad product. The milk permeate goes through a UF plant and separated out, and there's a number of components, like there might be permeate, there's permeate, retentate, your fats, well, a few other, after they go through that UF plant. So it's a litre of milk that's broken up into a number of components. Retentate's used for some purposes, you know, the fats are used for other purposes, and the whey is used for other purposes, and you know, permeate's used for a number of things as well. You have a permeate goes through the GOS plant and makes baby formula. Mm-hmm. So permeate is naturally in milk. Now, there's a number of ways to standardise a product of milk for table milk. There's the straight, you know, skim it off, separate it out, and it's successful. And there's to put permeate on top, and permeate on top gives you your protein levels and your fat levels right to the NIP, which is your nutritional panel. So that's the only thing it does. So it's a natural product going back into a portion of milk, going back into the portion of milk to standardise it to a level of 3.8 and whatever the protein level should be. It's not a chemical. It's not a. It's purely since I've been in the dairy industry for 33 years, and we've always used it as long as I can remember anyway. We use it here because of our process, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't use it, because there's nothing wrong with using it. Market pressures wouldn't let us use it now anyway. The market has dictated that you can't use it at all, but that's a silly thing. It's silly for the industry.
Sure.
It's actually already in the milk, so to be permeate free, the difference is they call it permeate once they separate it, but it's already in there, so you can't be permeate free anyway. It's no added permeate. I think the two big processors, about 30 or 40 million dollars will come out of the industry. So naturally, they'll put pressures back on the farm price to achieve, because they're not getting it out of the market. They have gone for the permeate free selling tool or marketing to advantage themselves, to try and collect some market share from consumers, but haven't gone for any extra price. So there's only one way. The pressure always comes back down to the bottom end, and you know, farmers feel that pressure. If you do something from a marketing end and you get a positive result from it, then you can keep the money in the industry. But when you just take it straight out of the industry for no apparent reason, because it's a someone's good idea, it's going to affect prices. Because consumers are ignorant, they will believe in what's said on TV and what's advertised. Just a fact of life. That's where they have advertising. They now think that permeate's a chemical that someone was putting in the milk. In fact, you know, it's not such. It's, as I said to you before, permeate does not hurt. It would more benefit the product than hurt the product. And I'm not a pro. You know, it's just one of those industry things. It's something that's silly that two companies have brought about by trying to market their product. And I'm not saying it's two majors either. It was probably A2 Milk and Aussie Farmers Direct. Dairy Australia, they failed us. They put out some fact sheets, but that's all they did. If they had have been on the front foot and positive, they would have advertised the fact that, you know, permeate is a natural product, and the fact that it is probably more beneficial to standardise with permeate than not. On farmers, the best way for farmers to get the best price is that there's a cut, there's a share in it for everybody, not a dominant player in the share of the returns, and it's unbalanced right now because, of course, in Australia we have 2 supermarket chains that dominate 80%. So for every $5 that's spent in Australia, $3 is spent in those 2 places in grocery. So I think the Australian government need to look at that down the track, but we also need to be more innovative and push products at a premium price.
Yeah.
And as I said, the bigger price you get for and return you get for your product all the way through, the better price farmers will get all the way through. In reality, I don't think that for a long time we've advertised the benefits of milk. We do it in a short spurt, but there's no real education to the consumer. So that's where these marketing companies are taking advantage of it. Dairy Australia, again, I think you pay them a lot of money, and I don't think they do a lot in that area. They leave it to the processors, and all the processors are about brands and taking advantage of what they can get. It starts at the grassroots with our farming community, and then it goes all the way through. I mean, the Australian farmers are the grassroots of our business.
Yeah.
And that's, again, people just don't understand it. The consumer is fooled by make-up marketing. And they've been good at it. People have been good at it. And I don't think they'll take the permeate focus any further. I think at some stage somebody's going to, Dairy Australia will have to stand up at some stage, or someone will, and say this is a lot of rubbish at some stage, or it'll just go out the window and be forgotten about in the near future. It'll take a while, but yeah, I think someone will realise that this is silly. As I said, your bigger companies, you take 30-40 million out of their business, it's going to affect them, and it has. National Foods, I think, Lion have an investment of 2.6 billion or 2.8 billion, and they only had a $50 million profit. And I think Parmalat are in exactly the same boat. They're not going to put up with that. They're hurting. The manufacturers are hurting. Again, that's a combination of a number of things, of course. Having two big companies control 80% of the grocery market is an issue. The processors do only use milk permeate, so in milk, and that's what we're about. So it's definitely not a waste product, no. It goes across, if it's not used to standardise the product, it'll go into a baby formula. So that tells you it's got a lot of positives about it. In Dairy Australia, the farmers pay a price for them to look after the industry. I believe everyone tips in to keep them going. They're not doing a lot. I don't think anyway. We've had meetings with them about a number of projects that they're on, which are fine. But I think when there's false and degrading information going out via a marketing campaign, it should be addressed by Dairy Australia, because that is the authority. I'm not against them. I just think they could have done a lot more with this particular subject. Yeah.